You know, there's this weird belief right about now that despite all what we have, that the FGC somehow is fixated on storylines being created only in an in-person event.
You're listening to Personality, your gateway to the latest in gaming news.
What's up, everyone? Now I want to talk about some FGC beef sets that I've been following a little while back now. So for those of you who don't know Sikander, he is a possibly maybe the self-proclaimed best Sub-Zero player on MK1 right about now, and he's been somebody who's quite easy to follow. He's been having multiple beef sets with other players such as Koizi, and recently they call me the daddy. They still call me the daddy. I forgot his name completely, but he recently concluded that beef set. Obviously it is one that has been facilitated by Foxy Grandpa and has overall kind of, you know, he's kind of set the trend now where it's like we're seeing people vex at each other. They're upset and they've got to settle it in MK1. Usually we used to be settling it in Smash, but now it's Mortal Kombat 1. But what is so important, or what I see, or where I see the potential, is that this, I think, is a very real aspect of fighting games. Not necessarily the negativity, or not necessarily the fact that we have to get mad at each other to play games, but it is the very nature of fighting games and that competitive nature that actually facilitates a very almost perfect breeding ground for that type of display in terms of emotions, in terms of skill. I'm struggling to see another genre of video games right now that could make up for that level of aggression that these fellas have been bringing to the table. And I'm telling you, these beef sets, pure entertainment. When I tell all the entertainment, like, check them out. I mean, you know, it's a case where sometimes you may not agree with what's being said. That's okay. At the end of the day, you're not here for their political opinions. You're here to see people talk trash and eventually trash each other in a video game. But what was most entertaining about this for me, or what made me entertain this thought, is the fact that people who are not into fighting games that much have been following these stories. They don't really play fighting games, but they're seeing the attitude between these two players colliding, and they're like, yo, are there more fighting games like that? You know, luckily MK1 has the ability to facilitate that kind of direct communication, simply because of the fact that you could, you know, turn on your mic, speak, tell a person, go, you know, do something or insult their mom. That's a big possibility within MK1. I mean, it's a feature that's lacking from other fighting games, but it's not an excuse for us not to communicate. I mean, we have all these lobbies, we chat with each other, we could tell each other things, we could start a Discord call before hopping online into the game and talk smack to each other and facilitate that. Now, that is what I think, not necessarily the competitive scene needs, but it's overall the energy of fighting games can use that, tap into that potential, and let's facilitate more beef set. I say that's not necessarily what the competitive scene needs, but we had a little beef a while back between Punk and Xiaohai. Now, Punkdagod, legend in the Street Fighter series, y'all already know who it is. And then on top of that, you have Xiaohai, legend in King of Fighters, and of course, he plays other fighting games. Now, Xiaohai stepped to Punk a while back and, you know, essentially asked him if he's nervous. They were about to play a set of Street Fighter in a specific setting, and my boy just, you know, kind of had to lean over to Punk and say, yo, you nervous? And Punk absolutely destroyed him. And it's what was said after that made me realize, yo, we need more of this. So let me just roll that clip for y'all.
Xiaohai might get his run back and he hear you talking. What if you got to see him in the playoffs?
I mean, he don't want to see me no more, bro. How many times do I gotta beat this dude, bro? He's literally wanted, like, no joke. It sounds like I might be joking because here was some little beef, but he's one of the freest players I've ever played in Street Fighter history. Like, I feel like the double P says a lot, you know, and I really don't have to try my hardest on him. He's just so bad. I don't know why he's so bad, and he's talking to me like I'm him. He had us mixed up. He must have thought he was me over here, and he thought I was him. Is such a weird guy, bro.
Now, Punk did not come to play. My boy even put up money on that Shanghai can't step to him. This is not no casual experience, dog. You gotta come here strong. You can't be wanna come over here just because you're bad in KOF. Alright, you're the Evo champion KOF. Bro, this is street fighter. This is a different league. And I love that energy. Mind you, I'm not really a big fan of Punk. I respect Punk. Punk is the GOAT, I guess you could say. But sometimes I genuinely don't always agree with Punk. But yo, he could talk his shit, alright? The man has worked hard for his position. He's actually a skilled player. Who am I to step to Punk? No one, right? But sometimes you could disagree with Punk, but that's why I had to respect Punk in this moment, because it's not about this soft thing. It's like, yo, dog, who do you really think you are? Come in and ask me if I'm nervous. You're out of place, you're out of your mind. Eventually, that made me start to think of the fact that we need more of this, even in the weekly tournaments. We've got to be hearing from players, and it gave me the idea that more weekly tournaments. I always talk about Tampa Never Sleeps here. I'm gonna eventually speak to those guys. We gotta get an interview going with Tampa Never Sleeps. But it was a case where I'm looking at these times, these kind of down times within tournaments, and you've got to give it out to the casters. They do an amazing job at keeping us entertained, but it must be a case where these players are not just their characters. They have personalities, you know, they have things to say. There could be a case where you message this one and you're like, yo, how do you feel about this matchup? Or what's your opinion on this player? He's been winning this XYZ, and you could be like, dog, he's nothing to me, he's about to get smoked. That's what we need. I'm telling you, this is the perfect genre to facilitate and encourage that energy, because that's what it's about. It's literally about being better than the other player. And I think it's a weird issue where we try to bring all of this perhaps too much political correctness into the FGC, but it's not a case where people get disrespectful. You don't have to get sexist. I don't even think racism. I mean, these aspects, obviously, you know what shouldn't make it. You know what shouldn't fly. And if a player comes with that level and energy of disrespect, then obviously, yo, cut it out. That's not what we're trying to do here. But if you come in to talk smack, you're trying to say, dog, you're not even that hot, you're possibly carried by a character. I'm gonna be playing the worst character in the game and I'd still cream you. If I was playing a top tier, it wouldn't change. It would be the same energy. That's what we need, bro. Nah, I'm telling you, that is what we need. These beef sets can facilitate so much. We don't have to wait for these in-person events. We have got the means right now. I want these local tournaments to reach out to players. I mean, obviously there are some players that don't really care about that. They just want to come on, they just want to hop on, they just want to play their games, and they go. Maybe we need more Foxy Grandpas, or he possibly has to extend the genre. Maybe just look beyond MK1. Let's get a SF6 beef set coming. Tekken 8 is gonna have a lot of salt, you know. It's gonna have a lot of salt coming next year, and not just for Tekken, but a plethora of games. I think these beef sets are necessary. Once, of course, like I said, we keep it within a level of standard, a level of decency, a kind of level of gentlemanness, right? You're trying to tell somebody about the way that their religion is set up, or the way that they may affirm certain things on beliefs about themselves. You're trying to go all that far, but you might be willing to play the villain and we may see those things happen. But it's definitely something that I think is missing from the FGC. Personality, not me, you know, boys here to stay, but personality on a whole. The opportunity to give players that ability to express themselves verbally, vocally. Vocalize the fact that this player is playing like trash and you should feel bad about it. But guys, that's what I wanted to talk to you today about. There's so many things that's gonna be happening this week, and maybe there's more beef sets that I could follow, I could cover, but overall, more than that, we need to utilize the tools that we have. We have Discord, we have people that could communicate on our mic, we have people who have agendas to push about certain characters, we have people who can connect, we obviously have all the mediums. It's time for us to get that going, because I think the FGC needs more beef sets. But I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, stay gaming.